Good morning, everybody. Mark Finan here in the home weather office on this Wednesday morning. It's now the 5th day of February, 2025, and this is the morning briefing coming to you from the home weather office. And as I look out the window, hey, skies are clear. Man, that weather system rolled out of here pretty quickly last night, allowing everything to settle down, and we are going to have a dry day today, but we are eyeing another chance of rain and snow starting tomorrow and lasting into part of Friday. I'll show you that here coming up in a little bit. But what we're going to start with this morning is looking back to last night when that line went through, providing periods of heavy rain in many locations as well as some strong winds. So what I'm going to show you here to start off with is the radar from last night. So this is off of the Davis radar, and this covers the time between about 4 in the afternoon up till about 6:30. And you can see widespread rain, but what I really want to focus on is this line right in here. This is just a beauty, and this is a little. We see these quite often when we see these systems come through. Little frontal passage here. And as I zoom in on it, you can see how narrow this is, but when this went over your house, you knew it. And the other interesting thing is that on the leading edge, out ahead of this is where we had the strong winds that I'll show you in a minute. And then behind it, as soon as this line went past your house, the winds died down rather quickly and the rain ended rather quickly as well. But this was, this is the sort of thing that you just don't want to be driving in because it's windy and it's wet. You know, your windshield wipers are going full blast. And so for those of you that may have had to be on the road as this was going by, yeah, I feel for you. And as you can see, it was rather widespread throughout the area. We even finally got some rain into Modesto last night. Yeah, I've heard from many of you in Modesto that said this thing was just a bunch of nothing. But yeah, Stanislaus County didn't get much rain. It took a while to get there, but finally last night we did get some. But then farther to the north, boy, the rain just was very impressive. I'll show you some storm totals from areas north of Interstate 80. Well, I'll show you the rainfall totals from everywhere coming up in a little bit. But it's really that line on the radar that was just so cool to see. And then when it went past the home weather office, I had to go outside and just kind of stand in it for a little while. You can make your own judgment about that. So the Weather Service put out this handy list this morning, in case you're wondering how strong the winds were at your house. So they've got an extensive list here, broken down by county. And so in Amador County, I'll admit I don't know where Coal Creek Road is or Village Drive are, but they had winds gusting up over 50. In Pioneer, we had a gust of 45. Sutter Creek had a gust of 39, and they go decreasing amounts here. Up on Shake Ridge Road, there was a spot that they had a gust of just 28. In Butte County, Cohasset had a gust of 56. Let's see, there's a PG&E site east of Chico that had a gust of 52. Let's see, in Paradise, a gust of 38. Calaveras County, Cottage, which I've seen this pop up a lot of times. I have no idea where Cottage is in Calaveras County, but they had a gust of 55. Let's see, down by the New Hogan Dam, gust of 43. So you can see a lot of spots had gusts over 50 on the east side of the valley and the lower foothills, whereas look at Colusa County. The max gusts in Colusa County were just in the mid-30s. El Dorado County, now this one I also, I'm guessing, because this is 1.1 miles east of Clarksville. For those of you that don't know, Clarksville is kind of where the El Dorado Hills exit is on Highway 50. So this is 1 mile east of there. So that might be, maybe PG&E has a site up by the Bass Lake exit there. 57 miles an hour. That would be about right. That would be a very windy spot right there at the top of the Bass Lake grade. A gust of 57. Placerville had a gust of 52 at the airport. Other spots, Shingle Springs had a gust of 43. Let's see, find a few others here. Glenn County, not quite as gusty. Nevada County, Donner Pass Road had a gust of 60. I'm not sure where Grouse Ridge Lookout is, but they had a gust of 73. I did see Nevada City down here. The Nevada County Air Park had a gust of 32. Grass Valley had a gust of 30, so not quite as gusty. Nevada City's right here, had a gust of 42. So not quite as gusty as you saw in some other spots. Placer County, similar. Up in the mountains, we had gusts in the 60s. Blue Canyon had a gust of 58. Let's see, Lincoln at the airport only a gust of 35. That surprises me. Usually Lincoln gets a little bit more. The Auburn Airport, only a gust of 25. Roseville, a gust of 15? Nah, it had to be windier than that in Roseville. Plumas County, gusts in the 40s and 50s. Sacramento County, Matherfield, usually one of the windiest spots, 52. Usually that and McClellan are some of the strongest winds in Sacramento County. Those happened earlier in the day, 48 and 52. Those happened around right around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And so anyway, San Joaquin County, gusts in the 40s. Ileton had a gust of 45. Let's see if anything else interesting here. Shasta County, Sierra County, Solano County. Yeah, we had some good winds here. Vacaville Tower had a gust of 37. And in Stanislaus County, Mount Oso had a gust of 51. Usually gets windy into Puerto Canyon as well. And let's see, Sutter County, not too gusty. Tehama County had a gust of 52 at Colby Mountain. And in Tuolumne County, Mount Elizabeth had a gust of 65. All right, let's press on to the rainfall totals, which is what I've got right here. So what I've got here are the totals. So in other words, this goes back about 6 days. And if you just look at this kind of a view of it, this looks a lot like what the forecast was a few days ago, when we had a bullseye that I was pointing out in this area north of Interstate 80. So Interstate 80 would be right here. And so you see all these spots in red and orange. That's where you see the biggest rain totals, as well as here into Sonoma County and parts of Lake County. Lesser totals in the valley and much less in the San Joaquin Valley. If we zoom in on these, we are going to find totals over close to 2 feet. Is this Brush Creek or 4 trees? That's 4 trees, and that's Brush Creek. Usually some of the rainiest spots, and that all drains into Lake Oroville. A lot of other areas here had rain totals over a foot. We had about a foot in the areas not too far from Grass Valley. Sacramento County, most of this was last night. This 2 to 3 inch range, most of that was last night from that band that I showed you on the radar. Around Stockton, the storm total is around 1.25 inches, inch and a half. And then, Modesto, 0.66. So classic atmospheric river sort of pattern, the haves and the have-nots. And then if you look over here into Marin County, the mountains here, like Mount Tam, had tons and tons of rain, more than a foot in some spots. And the same thing in the mountains of Napa County, as well as southern Lake County. A lot of totals here that were pretty high. Let's see. So I wanted to talk about the inflows going into Oroville. So this is from last night and early this morning. So this line right here is the inflows in cubic feet per second. Before this storm started, the inflows are around 4,000 CFS. Late last night, just around midnight, they peaked over 100,000 CFS coming in. Now, back in 97, when we had that big storm, those peaked over 200. So really good inflows. And you can see that as the rain tapered off, the inflows have also kind of tapered off as well. As of this morning, they're down to 76,000 CFS, which is still really impressive inflows. But then look at the outflow. So what they're letting out is a steady 32,000 CFS. And a lot of people say, why don't they just store this water? Well, what Oroville is there for is not only water storage, but also a flood protection. So let's say this kind of inflow continued, 100,000 CFS. You would lose the buffer space you have of 700,000 to 800,000 acre feet. You would lose that in about 3.5 to 4 days with this sort of continued inflow. And so what you want is to have the dam act as a buffer so that when you get a spike like this of 100,000 CFS coming down the Feather River Channel, that you can regulate it. So instead of having 100,000 go down all at once, you do 30,000 over 3 days, let's say. And so you regulate it and makes for more controlled flows so you don't have to worry about flooding Oroville or Gridley or Yuba City. So that's what it's there for. And yes, they will hold on to a lot of this. So even though they are letting out 30,000, we still have 70,000 coming in. And just from 8 o'clock last night to 7 o'clock in the morning, the lake has gone from 855 to 858, almost 859. So it's gone up almost 4 feet, despite the fact that they're letting the water out. And they'll gradually, as the inflows slack, they'll also gradually taper off the outflows. But the outflows will continue for a couple of days just to, again, regulate the flow and get the lake to a level that they want it to be at this time of year, while still maintaining a buffer space so that it can maintain flood protection as we head through the rest of February, March, and into early April. And gradually through the season, they'll allow the level to be higher. What you want this to be is around 890 by the time you get to Memorial Day, or maybe mid-May, something like that. So by then, because by mid-May, you don't need as much buffer space because you don't have the threat of having 100,000 CFS come down. All right, so that's a little bit about what did happen. Now let's talk about what is happening now. So this morning we have clear skies, and it's this little guy out here that is going to be providing our next rainmaker. Now this one is going to be a little bit different. Let's go to the HRRR. Nice and quiet this morning. A little bit of rain down in the Tehachapi's, perhaps, down over the Grapevine. But as we go through the day today, we are dry. There is rain up on the north coast, but in areas south of Redding and throughout the Sierra, a dry day. This is around 5 o'clock this afternoon, so a completely dry day today. Actually, I'm on the wrong model run here. That's the 14Z. I want the 12Z because it goes out farther in time. There we go. So as we go through the day today, we are dry. This is 6 a.m. on Thursday. We are still dry. Now, what I want to look at here is how the colder air is going to be in place, and we are going to see the system come into colder air to begin with. We have a frosty morning out there today in many areas, temperatures down in the 30s. So as the system comes in, we are going to start with snow in the Sierra, maybe down around 5,000 feet. This is around 10 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. So by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, we have rain, we have snow. It's also going to get kind of windy. I'll show you the winds here in a minute. But what happens is, as this low comes inland, this right here, this is around 4 in the afternoon on Thursday, warmer air starts coming in, and that pushes the snow level back up. So that's going to keep our snow totals down, but a low here, this is around 9 o'clock on Thursday evening. Once again, another round of gusty winds, maybe as high as what we saw last night, if maybe 5 miles an hour or less, but still, it's going to get windy on Thursday night. But it's interesting to watch the snow level go up, and then after that low goes by, we're going to see the snow level drop down again. The NAM will be able to show you that a lot better. I'm going to use this model to show you the winds, however. I'll demonstrate that snow level better with the NAM. All right, so this is during the day tomorrow. The wind's really not coming up during the daylight hours, except in the high Sierra. As we get into tomorrow night, the winds pick back up. And again, a similar range, upper 30s to low 40s right here. This is around midnight tomorrow night. Lots of wind gusts around Sacramento County and the same areas that we saw. Parts of El Dorado County, Amador County to the north, gusts around 40, 45, and some of those exposed spots may be gusts as high as 50. Again, very similar to what we saw last night. And then as that low moves inland, we'll see the winds die off during the day on Friday, but it will stay very windy in the Sierra Friday morning especially. That's as far out as this model goes. So let's take a look at the NAM, because this will demonstrate the changing snow levels quite well. All right, let's go through the day today, and let's get into early on Thursday morning. All right, this is around 7 o'clock on Thursday morning. What I want you to pay attention to is this 540 thickness line. So that's that nice little purplish line right in there. There's the low. And then as we head into the morning, this is around 10 o'clock, we have the 540 thickness line here. And then around the middle part of the day, we have snow in the Sierra. The 540 thickness line, as this low begins to come inland, gets pushed up. By 4 in the afternoon, that 540 thickness line goes farther up, and so that means warmer air is coming in. So the low is wrapping up here, and you have southerly flow at the surface, southeasterly flow, bringing in warmer air. So that's a classic low. On the backside of it, there's colder air. So what we'll see here is the snow level maybe start off around 5,000, maybe go up to 65, maybe 7,000. And then look at the 540 thickness line right here. It slices through the low and then back here. So you have warm air on this side, cold air on this side. And so then the snow level is going to drop again. So by early Friday morning, you probably had the snow level getting down to 4,000 feet. So the snow levels with this one are going to be all over the place. And then during the day on Friday, this is Friday midday, the snow tapers off. Look where the 540 thickness line is now, meaning the air is relatively cool. And then we will be dry as we head through the weekend. So how much rain, how much snow are we talking about? Let's start with total precip accumulation. Doesn't look like much for the valley, so we're not going to see any issues on the streams and creeks for the valley. This only has about a third to a half an inch of rain in places like Sacramento, Stockton, and Modesto. It may be a little bit higher than that, and I would think that on the east side, areas like Roseville could see as much as an inch, and then in the foothills, perhaps another 1 to 2 inches of rain, maybe even a little bit higher than that. And in terms of snow, I'll tell you, it's going to be really tricky because of those varying snow levels. But this model anyway is showing that up on the peak, we could see about a foot and a half of snow. But for the lower elevations, down around 4,000 feet, how much snow we get there is really going to depend on when we get the changeover from rain to snow and then how long it lasts. So that's going to be a tricky forecast. So for those of you, let's say at 4,000 feet, it's really going to be tricky to find out how much snow you're going to get. It would be inches, not feet. So if you're hearing about a storm Thursday night, Friday morning is going to bring feet of snow to the Sierra, for those of you at 4,000, that's not you. That's at elevations above 7,000 feet. We may see 1 to 2 feet of snow above 7,000. The ski resorts are going to do quite well because the ski resort probably will not see the changeover from snow to rain back to snow. So above 7,000 feet, it'll likely stay all snow, and there we'll see, more than a foot, in some cases, maybe more than 2 feet of snow. But for the west slope, especially below 6,000 feet, we could see snow, rain, and then snow. And so because of the timing of that, it's going to make forecasting the amounts of snow we see between 4,000 and 6,000 feet really, really tricky. But it would be inches, not feet. I'll see if I can narrow that down a little bit with the runs that we'll see later on today. And as I get a little bit more data, so then the next update tomorrow morning, I should be able to give you a better idea for those of you that are in the more highly populated areas down around 4,000 feet. One other thing to keep in mind, travel in the Sierra, not going to be fun on either Thursday or Friday, especially Friday morning because it'll still be snowing. It'll be quite windy. If you do need to travel in the Sierra on Friday, wait until later in the day. But do also keep in mind that it is Super Bowl weekend. A lot of people like to go to the Sierra for this weekend, and we'll have fresh snow. A lot of people are going to want to ski this weekend. So you're going to have new snow in the Sierra as well as a lot of traffic. So some of the best weather for travel is going to be, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. But you're also going to have a lot of friends on the road, which will also probably snarl traffic as well. So that's everything I've got for you on this Wednesday morning. Yeah, it's nice to see the sun again after a couple of cloudy and rainy days. Make it a great day. I'll talk with you later.